Okay, I just wanted to make a really quick video. This video has to do with sorting layers. So basically, if I hit, what you'll see is the player and the robots. I put several robots. There's a problem with like overlapping, and this is where sorting layers come into play. So there's a couple of ways to deal with this. So if I select like any of the robots or the player, as you can see, there's like under the sprite renderer, there's the sorting layer and order layer. One way to deal with it is to open this sprite editor and just say if I select the player, as you can see, the pivot is at the center. The first thing, the normal way would be to make sure that that this pivot is at the feet. So if I apply that, the pivot's at the feet, and that way I can calculate whether a robot is above or below the pivot line. So if it's as soon as it crosses, it could be in front of the player. If it's above that pivot line, then he would be behind the player. And one way to like enable that would be to go into the project settings and graphics, and in this drop down, use custom axis, and by default 0, 0, 1. You could change this to 0, 1, 0. So setting the Y to 1, and what that does is it helps with the overlapping on the y-axis. So if it checks to see if it's above or below. So it's constantly calculating between all the objects in the scene. The reason why I don't want to do this is because it's actually it's kind of doesn't work very well. Like the game kind of jitters and stuff, and like the player or the game object starts to like bounce all over the place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my Ninja again, and I'm gonna go into the sprite editor and set this pivot point back to where it was, so center, and then hit apply. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to code it so that these robots, the sorting layer or the order layer changes with regards to where it is in relation to the player. So as you can see, both the player and the robots have the pivots at the center. So I'm going to open up the robot script, and first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable. It's going to be called it's going to be a float called y distance. So the y distance from this robot to the player. And as you can see, I already have a public game object for the player, which I'm going to use in a bit. And in this start function, I'm going to go to a sprite renderer. I want to call it sprite renderer, the same name, equals get components sprite renderer. So basically I'm getting this sprite renderer and I'm storing it right here. So at the bottom of the update function, I'll just do it down here. I'm going to say y distance equals player dot transform dot position dot y minus transform dot position dot y, or this would be the robot. So I need to make a note that anything, if a robot is above, it's going to be the player y position minus the y position of the robot, so the value is going to be negative. If it's below, it's the position of the player, because it's higher, it's going to have a higher number, minus the y position of the robot is going to be a positive. So, with that in mind, I have to put if y distance is smaller or equal to 0, or if it's a negative number, then Sprite render dot sorting order equals, first I need to Sprite. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is setting the value of the order layer. So the robot and the player are both at 0. So if I want the robot to be behind, if it's above, that means if it's the robot's up here, then it's going to be behind. That means it has to be smaller than 0, so I'm going to make that -1. Else if y distance is greater than 0, then Sprite renderer, sorting order is 1. I think I need to grab this piece of script that I just created, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to move it from the start function, and I'm going to put it down here into the update function. That way this gets the red underline gets disappears, but this sorting order is supposed to be lowercase s. I guess if this code isn't, if it's not in the update, then it doesn't read it from the start, so I gotta keep it inside the update. So I'm just gonna compile that. Okay, so if I hop back into the editor and I hit play, as you can see, there's no overlap. There's only overlap between the robots, but the only reason why I can go through them is because there's no colliders yet, but once there's colliders, it should be fine. And these robots have a tendency to clump together, which is another problem, but I'm going to deal with that later. But if I go in front of them, and if I go behind them, then I'm behind all of them. So that's all I wanted to do for this video. It was a very simple video. Next videos I'm going to deal with the attack and dealing damage, both the player dealing damage to the robot and the robot dealing damage to the player. Okay, so hopefully you enjoy that, and I'll see you in the next video.